I'm Jose Hernandez. I am a total amateur, but I am a what you would call a creative person that loves to create. And over the last few years, I've gotten into video, not just video, but even lately, I've been into photography. And I picked up Lumix S9, and I just wanted to talk about it. I think that from an amateur's perspective, I think it's where a lot of us come from. So I think it'd be a good idea to kind of review it and kind of go through it as to why a guy like me would pick it up and you know in this day and age with all the options that we have out there and pick this over everything else. So let's get into it. Okay, so about 6 months ago I was actually looking for a second camera to pair up with my Lumix X5 Mark II. It's a X5 Mark II X or whatever. One is black, one has the white logoing or whatever. And I needed something to pair up with it that could use L mount, lenses, because that was really important to me. I really did not want to go into a new ecosystem of lenses, especially because I have a ton of these L mounts now. And another thing that I was looking for, I wanted it to be lightweight, easy to carry, and something that I could kind of just use like as a dad cam. When I'm traveling with my wife or traveling with my family, I could take a couple pictures. I could take a little bit of B-roll, and that was kind of like the mindset behind it. Plus, at the end of the day, I just wanted something that I could do some behind the scenes and whatever, and I thought that this would have been a good idea. So I did that despite everybody in the internet saying that this is a trash. Let's just call it what it is. Most people were saying this thing was trash. And, obviously their perspectives change over time with the new firmware updates. And, now it's a really solid camera. Like, it has the unlimited recording now, which a lot of people were pissed off about. It has the real-time LUTs, which I love. And now I think people are starting to really catch up to it. Yeah, it doesn't have a viewfinder. A lot of people don't really need them, but I don't really need them. I've never used to. I've never, you know what? It's funny. I've been filming for about 4 years post COVID. I picked it up as a hobby during COVID, and I never once used a viewfinder. I never once. So to me, not having a viewfinder wasn't such a big deal. Uh, so and I know that was another gripe people had about it. But now, it has all the things that I need, all the things that I use on a regular basis. And, I'm super pumped that I bought it because it actually gives me, it really gives me the ability to just grab a camera, walk out the door, and create something. With my S5, for some reason, I don't know if it's just me, but everybody just gets like, they want to kind of rig it up and do this and do that to it. And I'm starting to realize that's a real amateur move. If you buy a camera and then you start to like rig it up and start to make it not as portable, I should say, I think that it could really hinder your creative process. Right now, I was using, or I still use my S5 for like professional work or semi-professional work. Again, I'm an amateur. Uh, so, it kind of sat in my bag. It has everything rigged up to it. It has the battery, it has the external monitor, it's got, the map box and everything. So I really didn't feel like taking all that stuff off. The only thing that I would do with it is just swap lenses and that's it. Now, with this, I figured, you know what? This is going to be like the camera I just kind of carry, and people are just, whatever. It's like, hey, I'm taking pictures of my kids or whatever, and it's not too big, and I think it works out perfect. That was the purpose behind this actual camera when I picked it up, and I think that, you know, Lumix did a really good job of making something that anyone could just pick up and just start shooting. Like seriously, like you don't need to be an amateur, but I mean you don't need to be a professional to grab this camera and get some really cool shots. So there are four reasons, my top four reasons. These are not technical reasons, basically. Again, I'm an amateur. I'm just gonna go based off feel, you know. So, I'm just gonna mention my four reasons as to why I picked this thing over everything. All right. So number one, the image is gorgeous, so I knew that coming off the S5 that I can get some really cool video and really cool pictures out of it. I didn't realize that the difference and this is, I mean, look, this is an amateur's perspective, okay? 10-bit 422, 420, 250 megabyte, 200 megabyte, whatever. It all looks the same to me, man. Like, I put it in DaVinci Resolve and, you know, I I apply the LUTs that I apply on stuff, or I do a little bit of color grading. I've gotten into that over the last couple of years. And I could, color grade it just like, I could color grade the S5, and I think it looks great. I don't think it has a really like, I know this is gonna sound stupid, but it looks kind of like a film, and that's one thing that I love about it. Number two, the second thing that I love about it the most is how simple and easy it is to use. This thing is super simple to use, very easy. You can literally pick it up, I would probably throw a, just throw a prime lens on it if you want to, and just start snapping photos. I put it on aperture priority here, on pictures, on the A, and boom, I take a bunch of photos, and it's great. I've been recently getting into that, like the panoramic pictures. I forget what they're called. I think it's 665 times something here inside the menu, and it makes the pictures look really, really cool. There is a guy online that was doing it that I kind of follow, and I don't kind of follow. I follow this guy on YouTube. Go have it, right? And he's taking pictures like this, and I think they look amazing. And I started doing it, and I think he was right. I mean, it's pretty freaking cool. So that's all I do there. And then, for video, I have, it's got 3 custom settings. I have my 3 settings, and that's it. I have a slow-mo. I actually use the full HD 60 over the 4K 60 just because I don't like the crop, and it looks gorgeous. It looks beautiful. I don't see anybody ever telling me like, "Hey, that was not 4K." I never had that happen to me. So as long as it's lit right and it's composed right, I think it looks just fine, especially for the YouTube, right? Then I have my, your open gate. You have to have that. You got to have open gate. And I say that jokingly, but no, seriously, you got to have open gate. It's amazing. It's probably the best feature that I use in both these cameras, to be honest with you. And then I have my 4K 24, and I use that pretty much, and that's about it. Super simple SD card. They're pretty easy to find, cheap. You get a cheap SD card in here. Yeah, you won't be able to record in the highest the highest bit rates or whatever. But I got to tell you, with a V60 card, you could pretty much record anything in here. You're just fine. You ain't missing anything. Trust me. And there's just not much of a difference between what I'm recording in my V60 card than I am recording in my V90 cards. Yeah, the V90 and the V90 cards are way more expensive, just being honest, okay? Then the third thing I really like about this camera is that it travels super light. I got the the S9. I got a grip that I got from Amazon, I think. And I used the 50 mil 1.8. I think it's a great lens if you're looking to get into the, the Lumix ecosystem or the L mount ecosystem. Get that. And then I got a 28 through 200 zoom lens. It's great. I mean, it's an f4. It's not the greatest lens, but I think that the range from 28 to 200 is awesome, and it pairs up really good with this, and it's not much bigger, and it uses the same filter thread. So I think just it's a win, So, and I don't even think it was that expensive. I think it was. I know this stuff's expensive, but relatively to everything else, it wasn't so expensive. I think it was about $800 for it brand new. This lens, I think I paid for I got it used, and I got it for $200. So it was a good deal. And then, the fourth thing that I love about it the most is what I kind of like opened up with. They did a really good job of making a camera that makes you want to do something, and I've never had that experience, to be honest with you. In 4 years that I've been shooting videos and stuff, it's always been kind of cumbersome, and I don't know if it's because I over complicated everything, but looking back now, I used to have an EOS M that had magic lantern, and I used that thing all the time, and I think it was because it was so small and simplistic. So this is like my version of the EOS M with Magic Lantern in 2025. That's all it is for me. And ever since I've gone to this camera, I've been able to create more videos, just do a whole lot more, you know? And I think that that's kudos to them. I know there's other cameras that are this size, this compact with a full frame sensor, like the what is it, the Sony EV1, which I was gonna get that, you know. The honestly, the only determining factor between that one and this one was the fact that I had so many freaking lenses that I was just like, you know what, I'm not going to a Sony right now. I just can't afford it, you know. I'm not sponsored. This is not a full-time job for me. This is not even a job. This is a hobby. And you know, at some point I'd loved to do this full time. So for right now, I'd rather just work with what I got, honing my skills. In this day and age, you can get a beautiful photo or a beautiful video out of pretty much anything that's modern. So I don't think there's much to take away there, except that it just works within what I'm within my system right now. So that's perfect, you know. And again, like that's it. That's the reason I love this thing. I honestly love it. You know, I love it more than my S5, and I love my S5. Don't get me wrong, but this thing right here, it is the shit. Like I absolutely love it. If I could get another one, I would totally get another one. Now I am gonna post an affiliate link for this thing down there. Also the 28 to 200 and the 50 f1.8 down at the bottom. I'm just trying to get this channel off the ground right now. I'm gonna try to start, you know, really posting. So the only reason I'm using affiliate links is for that reason. You know, I run a pretty cool company, and you know, I just don't want to take away anything from that just to do this and not be able to do anything with it. So yeah, hit a like, you know, follow, subscribe, whatever, and I'll try to catch you on the next one. Peace.